feeling cold against your skin. Running through the chaos, letting all the sin. Temptation in a bottle, ready for the night. Craving for the thrill, it's time to ignite. Dark desires burning bright. Echoes in the dead of night. No retreat, no looking back on this heart attack.
Hey, ladies and gentlemen, how are you? Good to be back. Good to be back. Good to be in the world of the living again, in the world of the living. I was away for a couple of days. Actually, nothing to do with me. I'm fine. It had to do with my neighbors. My neighbors, unfortunately, on Tuesday, was it Tuesday morning? Yeah, Tuesday morning came knocking on my door at like 7 a.m. in the morning. And they're like, oh, last night, overnight, a pipe burst in their apartment and it made it go through all the electrics and it was really bad, and they had to have people come out urgently to turn off all the water and turn off all my electricity. So I was like living in the dark ages for like 2 days. Not a lot of fun. Not what I was not what I was hoping to do with my Tuesday and Wednesday, which was like living in the dark ages. But they finished up today, and finally we can come back and do more entertainment and shows for you guys. I thought I would give you some updates from Bondi, because we haven't spoken in a couple of days. So I thought I would give you what's been going on with Bondi, and then we have a whole bunch of other case things going on, trial stuff going on. There's a lot of updates for all of you. This is probably the big thing that's going on right now. This just happened. Now, Anthony Albanese, if you're not an Australian, he is our sometimes prime minister. Um, he is saying today that they are going to announce new measures to basically to try and stamp out this type of hatred is a word they like to use at the moment. And they're saying here Albanese announced that the National Security Committee had approved measures including a new aggravated hate speech offense targeting preachers and community leaders who incite violence, as well as tougher penalties for those that actively encourage such acts. They're saying here hate will also become an aggravating factor in online threats and harassment, ensuring offenders face stiff consequences. And they're trying to wipe out anyone who wants to breed this type of hatred for people. People doesn't matter. I don't think it's going to matter if it's Jewish or if it's another religion or something. I don't think it matters. I think it's just hatred at all, and they want to stamp that out. So this is sort of like their first official. This is what we're going to do to try and solve all this. So, what is going on? What is going on? Okay, I don't know what's going on. Don't know what's going on in in the chat. Um, yeah. So this is sort of like their big first thing. It's a good one. I think it's something that a lot of people have wanted in Australia, because down here there's certain congregations of people who actively go against the values of Australia, and they do it here. They do it here. They go to these places of worship, get told this stuff that's very different from the normal line of religion, and they actively do it online. They have TikToks, they have all this type of thing, and they encourage more of it. And I think a lot of people for a long time were like, "Well, you say you're gonna, do something about it, but there's people right down the road that are doing exactly what you said you don't want." So if this is what it took to get it done, that's good. It's a shame it cost 15 people their lives, and dozens more injured, but I'm guessing that is at least it's a step in the right direction. So there you go. That is a major new thing. It is to combat hate speech, division, and radicalization following the Bondi Beach terror attack. So there we go. Um, I think Sean's talking about it. Where's Sean? If I go up here, where is Sean? Yeah. Yeah, so the guy who took the gun, the guy you may have seen the video of him sneaking up on the attacker and then he wrestles with him and then he gets the gun. Yeah, $2.5 million. Let's see how much it is right now. Yeah, $2.5 million. That's what it's saying, 2.5. And this is a video if you haven't seen it. That's him. I think his name is Ahmed, and he sneaks up between these cars, rushes the attacker, who is the father, and gets the gun off him. Gets the gun off him. He is a hero. He is a hero. What a great guy! And I think his story in particular shows you that it's not us against them. It's not, you know, Jewish people against Muslim people. It's not Christians against whoever. I think it's just everyone against people that do stuff like this or breed, attacking people and using religion as a cover to stage terrorism. And I'm happy that he's going to get that money. That is great news. Apparently, he is still recovering in hospital. He's got a bunch of injuries, unfortunately. I think he was shot several times, and he's had to have quite a few operations already. He's had to have a few. I think there was a photo of him in the hospital bed. Let me see. There we go. Our sometimes prime minister met up with him and shook his hand. There you go. There's a photo of him. And the guy in the bed is a hero. The guy standing next to him, not so much. Not so much. Um, he likes to play a hero on TV, but is not exactly one. The guy in the bed is one. Put his life on the line. Lucky he wasn't killed. And hopefully he'll get a medal as well. Hopefully he'll get a valor medal to show that the country appreciates what he did. No doubt he saved lives. No doubt. If they still had that weapon, he may have gone on to shoot. Even if it's one other person, that he saved our life. But I'm guessing it was probably several. So it's really good. Yeah, the man and the wife. Yes, yes. I forgot. I've been away for so long that there's so many things we haven't talked about. Yeah, the story about the man and the wife who saw him coming out of the car, and then they tried to stop him. It's it's a very sad story. Very sad. Um, yeah. Where are they? Husband and wife. Yeah, yeah, Boris and Sophia. Boris and Sophia. Now they were captured on dash cam, and this is unfortunately the only video we have of them. But they caught the attacker, and they were trying to and they did very briefly disarm him. According to the story that I read, is that the shooter had a secondary weapon. Once he sort of got away from Boris, he pulled that secondary weapon and then shot and killed Boris and his wife Sophia. So they were actually the first ones to try and um, stop him. So there was more than one person who tried to stop the attack taking place, and it's very, very sad that Sophia and Boris are not here with us anymore. They are unfortunately deceased, and yeah, that's really sad. Uh, they try, they almost did it too. You can see in that there's Boris in the purple shirt. He almost did it. He almost got that weapon and stopped him. Yeah, they are definitely heroes, 100%. They may have delayed it. They may have delayed it by a number of minutes. They may have allowed other people to sort of go, "Hey, what's going on? Why is there people over there?" So they definitely probably saved people too. Gail said the gun was still with him when the cops came, so he didn't go back for it. Ah, okay. Interesting. Well, I think they had multiple firearms anyway. So yeah, there's a lot of stories about brave people. There's a lot of stories about people who gave up their lives to do what they could. Unfortunately, none of them actually were able to stop the events taking place in its entirety, and that is a tragedy in its own right as well. Yeah, it is really sad, right? Hey, Marcelina, how are you, my friend? Let me see if I can find a better photo than this of Boris and Sophia so we can show what they actually look like. Boris Gurman. That's not how you do that. All right, there we go. There we go. There is Boris and his wife Sophia. They look like lovely people. And there's so many photos of them, and what I love is they're always like holding hands or holding each other. It is in almost every single one of their photos you can see. There you go. There's a photo of them, and they're always like doing something. There's a photo of Boris. Where is he? I don't know. He's somewhere, and he's like jumping for joy. It's like really childlike joy, and he was jumping in the air for something. I don't know if I have that photo, but I saw it the other day. I don't have it, but if I find it, no, that's not it. There was a really cool photo of him. Uh, no, I don't have it. If I end up finding it, I will bring it to you. I will bring it to you because it's a very cool photo of Boris. But yeah, these two tried to stop the attack. So they they did momentarily, but were unfortunately unable to stop it completely. Gail said, I've watched so many newscasts from Australia recently. Not something to be proud about. It's a very dark day in Australian history. Bondi Beach will forever be changed. Forever. Bondi Beach used to be such a sort of like crown jewel of Australia. It's one of the things that we used to promote, to Americans, to Europeans. Would be like, hey, come to Australia and come to Bondi Beach. Come and hang out and, go on the sand and go in the beautiful water. And I feel like we may not be able to do that anymore. We may not be able to use the beautiful Bondi Beach in that way anymore because it is now, um, it's stained with what happened on Sunday night. So I don't know if it'll ever be the same ever again. Sally said, I read a popular bakery in Sydney is shutting down due to hate. They said they couldn't deal with the hate and fear because they are Jewish. Yes, I did see there was a bakery. Um, I I don't know enough about the guy's background, unfortunately. Let me see. Like I know there was a story about it. Yeah, here. It's Abner's. There you go. So his bakery, and it says, the world has changed. Our world has changed. In the wake of the pogrom at Bondi, one thing has become clear: it is no longer possible to make outwardly, publicly, proudly Jewish places and events safe in Australia. And he says, after 2 years of almost ceaseless anti Semitic harassment, vandalism, and intimidation directed at our little bakery, we have to be realistic about the threats that exist going forward. Those concerns are now clearly more pressing and more serious. Even in the wake of this terrorist incident, threats have continued. And they said, as an open and very public business that operates at all hours, we are unable to ensure the safety of our staff, our customers, and our families. They say, so we have made the only decision available, one that truly breaks our heart. And they say, Avner's is closed. And they're saying that basically they will close down the store. So, all the people's stories. Yeah, I agree. I agree. So that is a sad outcome, that a business feels like they can't keep their people safe enough to operate. That is pretty crap, especially in a country like Australia. All right. So we used a photo for a thumbnail, and I want to show it to you because it's look at all these people and look at all these flowers. So many people came out to lay flowers in respect. Look at all the people coming out. There was people who were talking and giving speeches, more Jewish prayers and things like that. But look at that! Look at that giant. Like that's a small token from the public, to say how heartbroken they are over what happened. I think it's a very powerful image. Very powerful. Gail said, "Is it that bad in Melbourne, St Kilda?" Well, only a year ago in Melbourne, we had the synagogue burned down. There was a synagogue in Melbourne that was burned down in St Kilda. Someone actively destroyed it and set it alight. Here, where is it? There was, yeah, back here, back in the 5th of July of this year. Sorry, I thought it was last year, but it's this year. Yeah, I'll take you there.
Victoria Police say they are now investigating 3 incidents in Melbourne overnight, including an arson attack on a city synagogue. They've released more details about a man who entered the synagogue grounds on Albert Street at about 8 last night. He poured a flammable liquid on the front door of the building, then set it on fire before fleeing. Reporter Natasha McFarlane joins us now from Melbourne. Natasha, hi there. Police provided an update a short time ago. What did they say?
That's right. So the police have now actually released images of a man they want to speak to, who they think may have information related to this arson attack at the synagogue in East Melbourne. They've released very clear pictures which have come from CCTV footage. It shows a man wearing dark clothing. He's of Caucasian appearance, about 30 years old, with a beard and dark long hair, so quite identifiable, and they're hoping that he can come forward and self-present and help with their investigation. Now, they're also urging people who may have seen something last night to come forward and provide information to this investigation. So I guess that's the newest element.
So yeah, that was only earlier this year, and then there was a couple in Sydney that happened where Jewish, I can't remember what they were, but they were something to do with Jewish people, and they were burnt down or attacked or spray painted, all 3 of them. But this is what the synagogue looked like after it was basically destroyed, and that happened not long ago. I don't remember if they did catch the guy or not. Here, let me have a look. Um, no, I don't believe they did find the person, but they said here in August of 2025, the Australian Prime Minister Anthony Albanese announced that intelligence assessments determined that the Iranian government was allegedly involved in planning the attack. And they said In response, Australia expelled the Iranian ambassador and suspended embassy operations in Tehran. So they said it came from state officials planning attacks on Australian soil. Hey, Siddha, how are you? Donna, hey Donna, by the way, thank you, Donna, for your donation the other night on our last show. I appreciate it. It's very kind of you. And I did not forget about you. I did see it. I did see it and I did remember. So thank you very much. What is ASIO doing? Well, one of the things I find very interesting with ASIO either fired or they had a whole bunch of staff leave this year. And from what I heard, these staff members were like veterans of the organization dating back to 9/11. So a lot of these people were around when terrorism really it's been around forever, but when it really got underway with 9/11, and a lot of these people worked on the 9/11 sort of investigations and task force, and these people had a lot of experience. And for some reason, after this new director of ASIO took over, they all were either fired, let go, or they retired. And you have to ask the question, is it in the best interest of the country, especially our spy agency, to lose that many talented, battle-hardened sort of people that know all about this type of thing? And it's something to think about for sure. Why was there such a, you know, exodus of talented people from ASIO? And yeah, it's something you have to ask about anyway. I don't know what ASIO doing. ASIO is very much like the FBI and the CIA. You don't tend to hear from them. They just do things in the background. Sort of like in America when the FBI takes over an investigation, they won't give updates. They just sort of do their work. Same with ASIO. ASIO just work in the background, and you'll very rarely hear from them, about them. They don't do public press conferences very often. They're very, very quiet. Possibly, you might be right. Hey, Robbie, how's your recovery going? I hope you're doing well, my friend. Are you back at home now? I hope you are. Gail said, sounds like a lot like another government. The UK government? A little bit. One of the things that came out actually, this might be something you would be interested to know. Over the last 48 hours, there has been a push for people saying that Anthony Albanese should step down and basically fall on his own sword because of what happened at Bondi, because it was so, you know, damaging to Australia to not happen since Port Arthur. That's the only decent thing he could do would be to resign, basically. I don't know if that'll happen, but it is being a call put out through various places. Yes, they did get extra funding for terrorism. That is right. Hey, Robbie, you're at home getting rehab. I'm getting better. Okay, good. I'm glad you're getting better. I hope you can go back to doing your weekend activities that you enjoyed so much. I won't say what they are, but I hope you can go back to doing your hobby eventually. Who's the ginger redhead that's his opposition? I got no idea. Let's see. Yep. So that is some of the big updates coming out. The other one is the thing that I posted about on Twitter a couple of days ago. Where is it? There was this image being circulated around, and it is very stupid. I think it's one of the most dumbest things I have ever seen. And I'm going to put it up on the screen. in the wake of what happened, this was spread around the internet, and I can't think of anything more stupid and more brain dead to make. And I wouldn't be surprised if this was a foreign, like a foreign infiltration trying to spread crap in Australia like they did with the USA. But I've never seen something so dumb. I can't repeat what it says on here because it'll ping me for saying these particular things. But if you don't know the history of Cronulla, it was about 15 years ago, there was a big sort of white people versus colored people, really, thing that happened in Cronulla, and it was really awful. It was a stain on Australia. It was, and the fact that they use Cronulla on here is sort of a throwback to that event. So they call it the Cronulla riots. And they're sort of almost saying, hey, come to Cronulla and let's do it all over again. Let's do the Cronulla riots again. And I think that is just really stupid, really brain dead. It says here, Middle Eastern or the W word up here. What are you going to do? Go and bash an Italian for what? What did they do? Even what are you going to do with that? Well, they're going to be like, "Why are you hitting me? What did I do? I didn't do anything. I'm just here." Like it doesn't make any sense. It comes across as childish and is not the response to what happened at Bondi that I think any of us need. And I think everyone should ignore crap like this and let it go into the gutter where it belongs. I think, you know, don't buy into crap like that. Either that or yeah, it could be that too. There was something there before, yeah, the Cronulla riots. I don't know if there was something before that, but there was the Cronulla riots. It was 2005. There is actually a pretty good documentary on it that came out, I think, actually this year. And I think it was on 7 News. You can watch it on 7, I think. But it was a really dark day, very, very silly. Started over something that should have died out very quickly. There you go. This is sort of what it looked like. A lot of white Australians all gathering, a lot of Australian flags and kangaroos and Southern Cross tattoos. And they basically came to bash people, bash Middle Eastern people. And yeah, it was not what should have happened. And there you go. More people, Southern Cross markings on them, and turned into like a big riot. And it was not a great day. Not a great day. It's on YouTube. Yeah, you should give it a watch. It's very, very well, very, very well done, and explains it a lot. Kim says, "Does bash mean hurt?" It does. It's an Australian slang for basically beat someone up. It basically means you'll go and punch someone or something like that. Chipmunk said, "People who can't think for themselves." I I just think if you allow this type of thing to fester, you're no better than the two people on Sunday who went and shot the Jewish people. You're no better. It's the same thing, just a different angle. It's exactly the same thing. The thing where like, oh, please don't do that. And then you're like, hey, let's go do the same thing. It doesn't. It's not a really smart idea. All you're doing is lowering yourself to the same level as the terrorists. That's it. Hey Marlene, how are you? Yeah, then there was a retaliation. So, in Lidcombe at the mosque there, they thought they were going to be attacked. They grouped together and they were patrolling Lidcombe and surrounding areas. They thought these white people were going to come and attack them. The white people thought the people from Lakemba were going to come and attack them, and It was a real mess. There was a lot of rumors going around. There was a lot of texting back in 2005. Not a lot of social media going on. It was more like phone to phone. So it was a little bit different than today, where you just look on Twitter or Snapchat or Facebook or something like that. Back then, it was like text messaging that happened. So yeah. Chipmunk said, sadly, people don't learn from history, which ticks me off. Well, I hope this was definitely supposed to be a dig at the 2005 Cronulla riots, and it was almost like, yeah, let's do it again. And I think that is not a good response to what happened on Sunday. There's other things we could do that, I personally think a united Australia, everyone together, the people on the good side, if we unite together, we outnumber the bad people every time. And that's what the country needs, to be united right now, not divided, not factioned off. No, I'll hang out in my little group, you hang out in your little group. I think that's what defeats everyone, is when they, separate us, and it's like divide and conquer. United Australia will win out every single time. And unfortunately, there's dumb people who only have about 2 brain cells, and they make things like this, unfortunately. They do stuff like this, and they use inflammatory wording like, "Spread the word, Australia. Stand the fuck up." Like I can hear the voice. I can hear the voice. I can. I can hear the voice that would be read in. He'd be like, "Yeah, mate, we'll go down to Cronulla. We'll go down to the Nulla. Go bash some people." Like, no, let's not do that. Gayla said Australia is all about being a melting pot of cultures. It definitely is. There are more cultures here than I could count on one stick. Anyway, on one stick, yeah, let's count them on that. On one hand, but yeah, there you go. A bit of a history lesson in what that is related to, and I hope people just ignored it. I hope it goes away. Um, That'll be, what is that, next week? Not this weekend. It would be next weekend. I hope we all have a good Christmas. We all pay respect to the people that died. And on the Saturday, I hope I don't hear anything about Cronulla. I hope people are smarter than that. So I hope so. Be smarter than the idiots. People that make this, idiots. Be smarter than them. The retaliation was at Maroubra. There's a couple that went around. All right. I think that's probably your biggest update I'm going to give you out of this. The other thing is that there were some funerals that got underway today, and one of them I think was Matilda's funeral. She's the little 10-year-old that we showed you on Monday. A little 10-year-old, very cute little girl, and I think they started her funeral today. I'm just having a look. Matilda. Yeah, 6 hours. Yes. So they did do her funeral service today. There we go. Yes, they did do it today. The youngest victim of the Bondi massacre laid to rest. A lot of people turned out. Our Prime Minister did not go. I don't know why he didn't go, but apparently he did not attend. And they're saying the Prime Minister would not confirm if he was even invited. So I don't know if he was, but he did not go. Let's see. Yeah, there you go. Some photos from her funeral getting underway. A lot of very sad people, you know, saying their final goodbyes to her. There you go, leading her out. Not something we ever wish on anyone, right? To bury your children. There you go. There's a photo of her. Little Matilda, 10 years old. Chipmunk said that would be disrespectful to go, in my opinion. You would think so. He would have been heckled, maybe. Well, he probably gets heckled anywhere he goes, right? Gail said, I cried at her parents and granddad laying flowers. Yeah. It's, and there'll be more to come. We got 15 people to lay to rest. They did do some today. I'm sure there's going to be more coming over the, next few days. And, yeah, there's going to be a lot more people that we have to unfortunately say goodbye to for a final time. And there you go. There's another look at that. Yeah, so she was laid to rest today. And yeah, 10 years old. You imagine what you were doing at 10, and then that's where your life ended. We're all very lucky, some of us. Like I got to my 40s, a lot of other people even older. And this little girl didn't even get to 10, like past 10. She didn't make it to 11, which is very,
Chemist Warehouse.
hey, shush, we don't want to hear about Chemist Warehouse. They can go away. Let's have a look. I don't think I have any footage from her funeral. Hold on. No. I don't. Oh, here. That's all right. No, I don't, unfortunately. There'll probably be more updates about it later on today. There we go. There is your update for that. Hey, Marco. What's up, brother? What's up, brother? I think he was asked and was told not to come, reading between the lines in the press conference an hour ago. He may not have been welcome. He may not have been welcome. So sad. 10-year-old should not die. Forever 10, right? Kathy Lynch said Dick Van Dyke just celebrated 100 years. That's crazy. Oh, I was going to give you an update. So a lot of people were wondering what is going on with the Jody Hill trial. Well, it has been an interesting week for the Jody Hill trial. We have had multiple questions from the jury. Multiple. We've had a lot of deliberations. They've been going since last Friday, and I don't see an end in sight right now. Right now, it looks like it will continue for a bit longer. So we are not going to get a verdict. I wouldn't think so today. So yeah, there you go. There's your update. If you're watching the Jody Hill thing, or you've been following along with me, we're still in the deliberation phase. And yeah, just a lot of questions from the jury about certain wording and stuff like that. They close on Friday. So the court talked about this today at trial. They don't close on Friday. They're closing next week. So they're going to run for the first few days of the week, and then they'll close until early January. What happens if we get to that and the jury is still deliberating? I don't know. I don't know. I don't know if they stop and then come back in January, or I, I have no idea. I don't think the court's going to be open on Christmas Day or Boxing Day and New Year's Day. So I guess that's what would happen. They would have to come back in Jan. So yeah, we are still waiting. Rachel said, I've been waiting for an update on this trial. I cannot wait to tell you everything I saw at the trial, but right now we have to get to either a verdict or no verdict. And both at this point in time are possible. I don't think either is like more in the, you know, what would be the if you ask me like what do I think might happen? I think they're both equal right now, and that's not me playing legalities. That's my honest opinion. I just think it's a little like 50-50. So we'll have to wait and see what the jury comes up with. So what else did we have? We had that. We had that one. Oh, we had the sentencing for Tom. So if you don't know who, hold on, Tom. So if you don't know who Tom Silvani is, I didn't do a lot on his trial, but he was sentenced yesterday, and he is the R-wordist, now convicted R-wordist, who attacked his girlfriend's friend, but also what used to be his best friend, his girlfriend. Girlfriend is the way I can say it. They were sort of in a casual relationship. So his best buddy, his girl, and then his girlfriend's friend. So he hurt someone who was within the people he's supposed to love and care for, closest circle to him, and he's now been convicted of R-wording her. He was sentenced yesterday. They actually broadcast it online, which was something I haven't seen a lot of at all. And I will play you the sentencing thing from the ABC.
Contains content that may be confronting.
Appearing via video link, Tom Silvani appeared emotionless as Judge Greg Lyons handed down a 6-year and 2-month prison sentence with a 3-year and 3-month non-parole period. Tom Silvani, 23 years old, he is the son of AFL legend Stephen Silvani and TV personality Joe Silvani. His parents did appear in court today to listen to the sentence being handed down. They left very abruptly after proceedings wrapped. This case centred around the events of the evening of January 13th into the morning of the 14th in 2024. The prosecution's case was that on that night, the woman had consensual sex with one of Silvani's friends, but after that man left the home, it was then that Silvani entered a dark room that she was staying in, climbed into her bed and digitally raped her twice. The court heard that Silvani pretended to be his friend and that she had told him to stop. The judge today described his conduct as egregious, utterly appalling and shameful. He said that Silvani had shown no remorse. Let's take a listen.
The crime of rape is an intensely personal one. The violence of rape is inherent. The fact that no injuries were sustained should not be allowed to overshadow the physical violation you inflicted and the psychological and emotional trauma that flows from the derogation of the victim's rights and sense of security. Once the opportunity had arisen, your crimes were marked by planning, cunning and strategy. It goes without saying that your offending is very serious and your moral culpability is very high.
Tom Silvani's victim didn't speak outside court today. We are unable to identify her for legal reasons, but it was just last week that she appeared in court and she read her victim impact statement, telling the court of the ongoing trauma that she suffered as a result of the rape. Last week, we also heard from the Silvanis. They told reporters that they would be working to clear their son's name and that he maintained his innocence.
Yeah, so last week when the victim gave her victim impact statement in court, preliminary sentencing hearing, which was last week, his parents appeared right where that girl or woman was standing and gave a very brief interview / statement. And their entire statement was how much they love their son and how much they're going to look at his appeal options and look to clear his name. And the one thing that stuck out to me was, by the way, the parents did not listen to the victim's impact statement and were not in the courtroom at the time. They refused to be in there when she was speaking. I think it was so tone deaf. How is it that you even if maybe your lawyer told you what the young lady said, you go outside the court directly and you're like, we're going to fight to clear my son's name and invalidate everything that that young woman said and said she went through, even after our son was convicted. I think it's horrible, and I can't think of a more stupid thing to say directly after she gave her victim impact statement. Like, should have said nothing. Should have said nothing at all and just walked away from the court. You want to hold those beliefs, that's your legal right, and that is your right as his parents, that's fine. But to broadcast it to the world after she said those things in court, how she described that she still has panic attacks about men restricting her movements and things like that, I think it's just so tone deaf. It's ridiculous. Chipmunk said they should have heard her. They weren't there. Why not learn all you can? Their son surely wouldn't do that. I don't know, but I think it was a bit strange that they wouldn't listen to her. And you know, as far as the court is concerned, their son is a convicted man. He is convicted of the crime, now sentenced, and the minimum they could do is at least listen to what the young lady had to say. 3 years, he'll serve just over 3 years, and I think he got off lightly. I think that because even the judge said, I listened to the entire sentencing. The judge said that it was below the sort of below the sort of average, below the average sentencing for this type of crime. And I was like, he is very lucky to only be serving 3 years. I actually thought it was going to be higher. I thought it was going to be more like eight, eight on the top, and like 4.5 on the low. But it ended up being way less than that. He's only going to serve, about 3 years for what he did to her. And we'll have to see what happens with any appeal. Chipmunk said, I would say I love my son, but he messed up and needs to pay. That might have been well, they can't say that if they're going to go and appeal. I mean, I get why they would not be able to say something like that, but don't say anything. Don't say anything. Let the victim have her day and let her, say what she wants to say. You can retain your legal rights and appeal later on if you want. 3 is quite low. It is very low. Chipmunk said, so in that time, they're going to be in court wasting money. Probably. They are going to, probably in 3 years, they'll probably get one appeal in 3 years, probably. Yeah, that's about the biggest update I want to do with that one. I don't want to go too deep into it, but if you are not from Melbourne or not from Australia, then you might not know who the Silvanis are. His mother used to be called Joe Bailey, and when I was growing up, I saw Joe Bailey on the TV a lot. She was on Sale of the Century back in the 90s. She was also on a lot of adverts and TV shows, and she was quite well known. So that's his mum, Joe Bailey, now Silvani. His dad was a pretty famous football player, like what we call football, but it's AFL, Australian rules. His dad was a pretty big superstar. They used to call him SOS, and he was well known as a football player. So, yeah, the family is quite well known. His brother Ben plays for St Kilda, and his brother plays in the Football League right now. So the family's very well known. Their name is very football focused, and that's why so many people are interested and know who these people are. Donna said he only got less because of his parents. He got less they were able to demonstrate, and I don't know how this works, but they were able to demonstrate that his mental health is so poor that he deserves to not spend so much time in prison. A lot of the sentencing remarks that happened yesterday were focused on why Tom is so depressed. What happened to him? He didn't get to go to play AFL because the pandemic happened, and then he got even more depressed. And they centered a lot of that around different doctors' reports saying how clinically depressed he is. And my comment to that is, maybe you would be less depressed if you stopped R-wording women. If you didn't do that, maybe that would help with your depression, because then you wouldn't have a court case, you wouldn't be going to jail, you wouldn't be muddying your parents' name, all these things. You know, they would help, l- lighten your depression maybe. So I don't have any sympathy for him. The other thing that went in his favor is that he's young. He's a young offender, and that he has great prospects at rehabilitation and work when he gets out of jail. So that they were the main reasons. Donna says, unbelievable. Stop drinking first off. Yeah, that too. Chipmunk says, you'll feel like crap when you do crappy things. There you go. I don't think there's any excuse for what he did. Uh, it takes a lot of conniving, behavior to have your buddy leave the home, sort of tell the girl that he was going to come back up to the room because his Uber was cancelled or delayed. And then when his buddy actually left the property and went home, he sneaks up to the room and commits the acts with her. And she cottoned on pretty quick. She was like, that's not the guy. You're Tom." Like, she knew pretty quick that it was not her sexual partner. Gail said, "Tell him to take meds like me." They will probably do that in jail. They have a medical team in jail. So that's your update with that. I don't want to cover it a crazy amount. I just wanted to bring you the update because it is a very big story down here. Yeah. All right. I want to go to the USA. Enough Australian stuff. I want to go to the USA, and you know, one of the big stories we had when we left you on Monday, we didn't know a lot at that time about the Rhino thing. Well, now we know a lot about it. We know an absolute ton about it. We now know it was their son who killed his parents. So Nick, his name is Nick, and he appeared in court today. He appeared in court wearing the turtle thing, the anti S word. What, I'm not sure what the name of it is. I think it's just called an anti S word thing. Let's go here. So the judge ruled no cameras in the courtroom and they couldn't take any photos of him in court. But that is what apparently he looked like in court today. A turtle suit. There you go, turtle suit. But he is now being arrested. He's now being arraigned. And they are saying here that he used a bladed instrument to cut their necks and kill them. And apparently there was so much blood that they found blood in the hotel where he was staying when he tried to clean himself up. It is gruesome, really, really gruesome. Let me see if I can just bring you a little update here. Yeah, I'm going to take you to ABC7 LA. That's not how we do that.
The son of director Rob Reiner and his wife Michelle made his first court appearance this morning after being charged with their murders.
Eyewitness News reporter Madison Weil is live in downtown LA at the courthouse and was in the courtroom for the planned proceedings, and she has reaction following the hearing. Madison.
Philip, Colleen, yeah, we were inside the courtroom as this all unfolded, and I can tell you that it all happened very quickly in just a matter of minutes. We did see Nick Reiner. He was sitting behind glass. The judge did ask us not to show his face on camera. His defense team, including his attorney, Alan Jackson, was also physically in front of him, blocking the media from seeing him as much as possible. We did catch a glimpse of him, though. He appeared calm and quiet, mostly just looking forward at the glass and only speaking briefly when spoken to by the judge or Jackson. And as we reported, the big headline to come out of court today, Reiner waived his right to a speedy arraignment. They delayed that arraignment until January 7th. His defense attorney giving us just a brief statement outside of court.
This is a devastating tragedy that has befallen the Reiner family. We all recognize that. Our hearts go out to the entire Reiner family. There are very, very complex and serious issues that are associated with this case. These need to be thoroughly, but very carefully dealt with and examined and looked at and analyzed. We ask that during this process, you allow the system to move forward in the way that it was designed to move forward, not with a rush to judgment, not with jumping to conclusions, but with restraint and with dignity and with the respect that this system and this process deserves.
You know, so I think we've all heard the history of Nick by now about how he had drug addiction for a lot of his life and was what some people labeled him as quite disturbed, including he would go on sort of benders and then rages where he would actually damage the property that his parents sort of gave to him. He lived in a guest house on their property, and he would just trash it, like coming down on his benders and things like that. He would just break stuff, ruin it, and apparently he did this several times to the point where his own sister actually dobbed him into authorities. I think she said to the authorities, he is dangerous. And for your sister to say that, I mean, yeah, I mean, that says a lot. They're saying he was arraigned today, 2 counts of murder and the use of a dangerous weapon, a knife. He's currently going to be held in custody without bail. And they said here that Romy had told the emergency responders that Nick lived in a guest house on the property. And what does it say here? They're saying here that in the weeks before the deaths, that Nick's behavior had been erratic, and that the family were trying to work through it with him. What do they say here? That when they found the bodies, the coroner said that they had been dead for some time when they were finally found. What else do they say? There was another thing I want to get to. Yep. They're saying here the LA County Medical Examiner's Office released the findings on its website without providing further details, but they have it down that Rob and Michelle died from multiple sharp force injuries, and that makes sense considering some of the things we heard over the last couple of days. They're saying here too early to. Yep. So apparently his lawyer asked for more time because of the type of case, and they need more time to basically work through it. So I'm pretty sure that was granted today. Yeah, what a sad story. This is not the only one. We read another story recently, very similar thing. A son of a famous couple killed the couple. Very similar thing. Child was dealing with addiction issues. Same thing, killed the mom and dad. It's very strange. Hey Joe, how are you? Yeah, he trashed the guest house where he was staying. Yep, probably. No, I heard a thing today saying that if he's convicted of the charges, which is likely considering what we know, that he would lose access to the trust fund that his parents had set up for him. So apparently, I don't know if that would work with the lawyer. because that's what they're saying. They're saying that it has a clause in the trust that if he commits, something like that, that he would be cut out of it. I don't know how that works with paying a lawyer. I'm guessing that if you get cut out of it, you get cut out of the, money. They're saying here, yeah, that he's accused of fatally stabbing his parents, and that they have confirmed that it was a knife that was used in the attack. I find it. Imagine being those hotel workers who found the scene in the hotel room of that bloodied bathroom. Ah, it must be awful. They don't get paid enough for that. Probably a lot. The family was quite wealthy. Kim says he may have a trust fund from his grandfather. That's true. I don't know, Joe. Could be. I don't know. Santa Claus is a pretty bad person. Burnt Popcorn says his grandpa was Carl Reiner. You're going to have to tell me who Carl Reiner is because I don't know. I don't know who that is. Jackson is a good attorney. I'm glad so he gets a fair trial and will be convicted. Hopefully. We want everyone to have a fair trial, and if they have to be convicted, that'd be good. Gaylor said, I want to know why he got a hotel room before the fact. To be away from the parents, maybe? Maybe they were having a relationship breakdown again. Donna said, imagine having a clause like that in your will. They must have felt like it was needed. Kim says, California has a slayer law, so he won't inherit if found guilty. That might be why. Gina says, Carl Reiner was a famous comedian. Okay. No, I don't think he will. Let me see. Carl Reiner. Okay. It's a little before my time. I don't recognize him. Yeah, I'll put his photo up on the screen. But it's not someone I recognize. I'm trying to see what I would know. Like, what did they make that I would know? Ocean's 11? Okay, well, I know Ocean's 11. The Dick Van Dyke Show? Well, I know Dick Van Dyke. Ocean's 12. Something with Steve Martin called All of Me. Another one in 1987 called Summer School. Okay. Can't say I've seen many of those, but I've seen a few. What else did he do? Let's have a look. Had a very long career in Hollywood, apparently. Let's see. Nope, we want to know. Okay. We have to go to his biography thing. What else was he in? Yeah, they're saying the biggest ones that most people would know were Ocean's 11 and Ocean's 12 and Ocean's 13. Unfortunately, that's probably how I would know him too. He was also in some other things like The Cleveland Show, The Alan Brady Show, and The Man with Two Brains. Can't say I've ever seen it. Something called The Comic. Yeah, I can't say I've seen very many of these, but it's probably a little before my time. Probably a little before, I was around. Rachel said a plea deal is probably a good possibility to get it to like open and close, probably. Ah, interesting. Thank you, Gina. Gina knows it all, apparently. Ah. In America, Jewish Americans were kind of a comedic powerhouse. Okay. Burn Popcorn says premeditation. Maybe if he already had the hotel room. Oh, I think it was probably premeditated. I don't think you just go kill your parents in that kind of way. Just, you know, one minute you are, the next minute you're like, hey, let me go kill my parents. Ben Polkon said, who would not have loved being in that talented family? Yeah, the whole family's, including the daughter, Romy. She's quite a talented individual. Gina says, Mel Brooks. Okay, I know who Mel Brooks is. I know who Mel Brooks is. All right, let me shut down some of this. So, a very quick ending to that one. I thought we might have to, when it first broke, I thought we might have to, spend weeks looking into it, but it sort of turned around very quickly, very, very quickly. Within 24 hours, we all sort of knew who had committed the crime and who they had found and arrested. It was a very quick turnaround on that one. Very sad though. Parents seemed like good people who had done everything for Nick to try and get him better. To yeah, had took him to rehab, bought him stuff, helped him, even made a movie about it. They made a movie called Being Charlie or Becoming Charlie, Being Charlie. Yeah, I think it's Being Charlie. Yeah, it is. So they even made this movie and helped him fund it, helped him get it directed. I mean, and it's all about sort of his life growing up and dealing with his addiction. Hey, it has one of my favorite actors in it. I love this guy. He's a great actor. He was on now I'm having a mental blank, but he was in a show with Melissa Joan Hart, and it was in her TV show she did on ABC Family about a decade ago, and he played the son. I think his name is Nick as well. Pretty sure. So the son is called Nick, and this actor is also called Nick, which is interesting. But yeah, they made this movie about his life, and it was about the things he went through and what his family did and stuff like that. Sally said, Ping is making us senior citizens show our age knowing Carl Reiner and Mel Brooks. I know who Mel Brooks is. I just don't know who Carl Reiner is. Something happened at that party while they were in an argument. We know that. And he was going around asking people if they were famous. I think that's a strange thing to do when your family is famous. Like, you would have to know if you're going to Conan O'Brien's Christmas party that most of the people there are going to be famous. So, yeah, like meltdowns. Yep, that's what I heard too. Yeah, let me look up who that actor is. What's his name? Yeah, Nick Robinson. He's a great actor. Great actor. I don't know what he is doing nowadays, but he was on Mel and I'll have to look it up. But he was on a show with Melissa Joan Hart, and it's a show where he is adopted by Melissa Joan Hart, and she becomes like their mum, even though she doesn't want children. Let's have a look. What else was he? Yeah, Melissa and Joey, which was a great show. A show I really liked when it was around. And it had Joey Lawrence and Melissa Joan Hart. The actor who played Nick in that movie started off here. So one of the shows I know about. Gail said, was he evaluated? I would say yes, several times. Chipmunk said, so he won't be able to play with Legos too. Okay. So if you know this show, that's where that actor sort of got his big break. Then there's the movie Being Charlie. Has anybody watched this particular movie? I can't say I have ever heard of it. I wonder if it's any good. Let's see. See if we can find a copy of it. Being Charlie. What does it say under the reviews for it? Let's go to Rotten Tomatoes and see what they have to say. It's a comedy, drama, romance. Okay. They say drug addicted son, Nick Robinson, who plays Nick, which is funny. I think the character in the show has a different name, obviously. California politician finds romance with a fellow patient in rehab. Okay. Let's see. Any reviews? 2.5 out of 5. Two tomatoes out of 4. 1, 2.5, 2.5, 2. So it seems to be, it gets a very average sort of vote. Nothing groundbreaking, just decent movie. This person says, being Charlie, despite having its heart in the right place, just isn't a movie. I would like to know more about why it isn't a movie. Oh, I'm not going to read that. The hell? It said click on the review, so I did. And then it was like, you can read this. And I was like, I'm not going to read that book. Look at this thing. But yeah, apparently a half decent movie. So maybe worth a watch for true crime people. All right. All right, Joe. Sita said, I have not seen the movie. I heard it was free on YouTube. It might be. Gina said, I suspect he'd done so many drugs for so long, he damaged his frontal lobe. You might be right. You might be right. Hey, Lynn, what's up, my friend? Mental illness and drugs are a horrible combination, causes all kinds of havoc. I agree. Marlene says, I got about halfway through. It was not very good, and the actor said some hurtful things about his father. Makes a lot of sense because they have a they seem, well, look, he ended up killing his father, so yeah, not so great apparently. Ah, it is free? All right, let's have a look. Let's see if I can get you the link. Let's see if I can get it on YouTube. It doesn't show up for me. It just shows me everything about the the case. It doesn't show me the actual movie, unfortunately. All right, hold on. Let's see if we type this in. It doesn't come up for me. And I wonder if it's because I'm Australian. And maybe it's not available here. Okay. Maybe it's only for Americans. Because, yeah, it does not show up for me. Hey, Burnt Popcorn, thank you for becoming a member. I appreciate it. It's very kind of you, my friend. I am well and truly thankful for all the members and the people who support this channel. It's been a crazy year. Crazy. Oh, it did? Well, thank you for renewing it. I appreciate it. Chipmunk said I could never be a movie reviewer. I'd be like, it's good, go watch it. Yeah, I feel like I'd just be like, it's good, it's bad, it's good, it's bad, and I wouldn't give any details. I'd just be like, go watch it, don't watch it, and that's it. They're saying here, yeah, like in that hotel room, he covered the windows with sheets, and then they found blood all over the bedding and the shower. What an awful horror movie scene that people had to view and walk into. Ugh. why would you cover the windows? Like, it's almost like, you know, he had a meth lab in there. Let's have a look. I want to see what other stories we have updates to. We got another 15 minutes. I want to see what else we have. Yes. I want to go to Alabama and take you to a story out there. And this happened the other day, and this woman, Christina, she was a reporter for this news station, WBRC. And they found her dead along with her partner in the home. And yeah, one of two people found dead in a Hoover home on Tuesday morning in an apparent murder S word. And this is in Alabama. Really horrific. And so far, they haven't said whether it was the husband or the wife. They've just said that they found them unresponsive and dead, but the child was found alive. Their 3-year-old child is okay. And they're saying here, Hoover police found Christina and her husband with gunshot wounds, and when medics arrived to the home, they pronounced both of them dead. And yeah, so she was pretty well known in the area for her coverage on the news, and this is a pretty big story in Alabama tonight.
And to know Christina was to love her, and her warmth, her joy, and her humor left an impact on so many.
Especially beyond her reporting here at WBRC, she touched lives in her family, her students, her friends, all of us here across Central Alabama. Your reporter Jillian Brooks joins us live in studio with another look at who she was and the impact she had on all of us. Jillian.
Morgan, Jen, Christina just had this beautiful ability to naturally feel like your friend immediately. I know I felt it when I first met her. I know many of us did. She joined the WBRC sports team in 2015 and gave everything her all, no matter what she was covering. She even branched out, covering some news stories during the pandemic. Today, many of us in shock that we're talking about Christina in this bright light, but in the past tense, but reflecting on the impact that she will have on our lives forever.
I think knowing Christina was knowing joy.
A spark of joy that first walked into the WBRC newsroom in 2015, joining a sports team full of guys, but one that she folded into perfectly.
And I think she made Sideline better. She made this TV station better. She made everybody in the newsroom better.
During her time here at WBRC, Christina did it all and with a smile on her face. Her team remembers her efficiency at work as some of the best.
She would come in and she would not.
So this is her and her partner here, husband Johnny. Now I just want to open that in there we go. When I looked at this photo, I almost thought it was AI because his head looks weird, almost like it's like cartoon. And I sat there for like 5 minutes looking at it going, it almost looks like animation. Like his head almost looks like, like digital animation. It doesn't look right. Anyway, that's her husband. And those two were found in the house deceased. They haven't said whether it was, one way or the other, but it tends to be in these type of situations that it is the man who does the murder and then does the S word. Now that's a little sexist, but it's just sort of the way the statistics work out to be. But so yeah, very well known in the area, very well known with the community, and she had been at the news station for a number of years. They're saying the deaths are being investigated as a murder S word, but police have provided no further detail on who pulled the trigger first. The couple's 3-year-old son, Constantine, was also in the home at the time, but was not harmed. Yeah, so not harmed. The kid is alive. How cruel do you have to be to leave your kid behind with no parents? Like, you wanna do your own life? Fine. You do that. That's your choice as a human. But then to commit a murder and then leave your kid with no child is, you know, selfish. Really selfish, and it might be the bigger crime here than the murder. It might be leaving that kid with no family. Really awful. Thank you, Gina. Thank you for asking people to hit the thumbs up. I appreciate it. Let's go here. Yeah. But if anyone knows anything more about what's going on in this one, please let me know, because there's not a lot of new information. Just that Hoover police have said the couple died from gunshot wounds. No information. Yeah, no more information, but the husband worked as a business analyst at American Cast Iron Pipe Company, according to his online bio. What else are they saying? Christina and Johnny Rhimes. I'm just trying to see if there's an update or not. No.
I'm still trying to wrap my head around this. It just doesn't seem real.
Many still in shock following the death of respected sports journalist Christina Chambers. Thanks for joining us at 6. I'm Guy Rawlings.
And I'm Carla Wade. We are learning more about the murder-suicide investigation that left that well-known Alabama sports reporter dead. A coroner's report confirms that Christina Chambers and her husband, Johnny Rhimes Jr., were both found shot and dead inside a home on Highland Manor Court in Hoover.
The report calling the incident domestic assault, and the examiner's office estimates they were shot between 6:15 and 9 o'clock yesterday morning. Hoover police say their 3-year-old child was also found in the house unharmed. Today, WVTM 13 Zoe Blair spoke with multiple people about the impact Chambers had on them and Alabama sports.
Every morning, Christina Chambers would start her morning here at the Lakeshore Trails, park in this spot and go for a run. Even though she couldn't park here this morning, her friends are still making sure her presence is felt with messages like, "We've run for you, love you always, always in our hearts." Now, I've spoken to so many people who knew her, and they all say the same thing. This is an unimaginable loss.
It didn't seem real. And I'm thinking, this can't be right. I saw her like 10 days ago.
Yeah, a very sad story for her, Christina. Lindy said dead squirrel on his head. I don't know, it's something. The dude looks like he's made out of crayons. Literally, like, I don't know what's up with his face. Almost like he ran his head through a AI filter and it did that. Like, what's up with the hair? What's up with the hair? It looks like chocolate. It looks like he made his hair out of licorice. Yeah, he looks like on a child's movie like Lego or something, because you guys were talking about Lego, but he almost looks like an animated person. Yeah, almost like a Lego head, right? It's off-putting. It's a little off-putting. It's not just his hair though, it's like his head or something. Yeah, so anyway, shouldn't make fun of people. We'll find out what happened. We'll find out who did what. But, in these type of situations, even though sometimes women can do it, it's normally the guy. It's normally the husband. Maybe she was trying to leave him. Maybe she wanted to divorce. Could have been. We'll find out. I'm sure they'll release a better update to this probably tomorrow. Probably tomorrow during the day, I would think. Yeah. No update on what they think happened inside of that home. So I will keep you informed. I'll let you know when I know. Rachel said, yeah, thank you. I appreciate you. Hey Joe, thank you so much for gifting 5 memberships. I hope people who needed them got them. And Joe, thank you, buddy. I appreciate it. High five to Joe. By the way, thanks to Sean for sending in a donation like he always does. It's very kind, buddy. And the only sad thing I have to tell you is that there'll be no late show until the weekend. I can't do them for the next couple of days as I'm helping out family with Christmas stuff, and I'm doing that in the evening. So I have to go do that for the next couple of days. So the next couple of days it'll be early shows, just for today and tomorrow, and then after that we'll go back to doing late show. So it's just for today, just for and tomorrow. I got to do something with help prepping for next week. I got to help the older people out. You know, cut trees and tidy up yards and things like that. Marlene says Long Island killed her husband. Sold. Oh, okay. I will look into that one. Maybe we'll have a look. Hey Peekaboo, how are you, my friend? Yeah, early show, but we're leaving. Trish is on in like 2 minutes. So I gotta go. I gotta let you guys go over there. Hey Peekaboo, it's good to see you, my friend. Hope you're doing well. Yes, more early shows during the summer. We'll be back to doing more of them over the summer and Christmas, New Year period. So we'll be doing more early shows. All right. Good night. See you later. See you tomorrow. Bye.